Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, Where Truth Matters. Thank you so much for watching us every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. That's Central Time, and that's 2 p.m. when you go Eastern Time Zone. So again, thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. You can still find us on television, Channel 182, Charter Communications, Abundance Television, syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com, all the social media sites. A lot of folks still watch us on Facebook Live, which is fine. You can watch us anytime you want to there, and YouTube as well. You can go to facebook.com/D as in Donna, Fiesel, F-E-A-Z as in zebra, E-L-L. And you continue sending emails. Definitely appreciate you doing that as well. That's Donna at donnasedge.com. And my husband, Phil, said you never talk about the website. Well, go to the website. It's donnasedge.com. donnasedge.com. No apostrophe S, donnasedge.com. Again, thank you so much for watching. Continue sending those emails. I have with me a beautiful person inside and out. Her name is Kylie Schneider. And she is, girl, you got it all going on. You got this podcast and you got a business of your own. You got wonderful kids. How do you maintain all that, girl?
Oh, that is so kind of you. By a little bit of grace, a lot of grace, I should say. Yeah, really, I've learned to become very organized and just to roll with things. For a few years now, I've been really good at mastering the overwhelm and not really letting it define me, which was life-changing for me. So I owe it to that, really, a lot of the training that I've had in education and just really being more present in the moment now and not worrying so much about the past and the future. So.
That is spot on. That's a lot of great wisdom right there because I've had baggage before and I would carry it with me. I found out my days were longer. I didn't feel healthy. I always felt like, and I have asthma. That's a gimme right there. But I found I don't get as many asthma attacks as I used to because I was getting them pretty frequently. Do you feel like some of that baggage we carry with us sometimes affects our health?
Yeah, 100% it does. It really does. Really the things that we go through and what we're holding on to is like energy stored in our body. So when we hold on to that, it just weighs us down. It comes out. A lot of people have a lot of health problems that are tied to stress. I know I did for years and years. I had so much, and really, I had debilitating anxiety where I really didn't even know how to properly function. I was always in fight or flight. And so carrying that around with me, it wasn't until I was really able to heal some of those emotional wounds and trauma that I've been through my life that I was able to be free of it and really start to help other people, even with the tools that I have. So you're absolutely correct. It's definitely a thing.
Live in the moment. How do you feel about this? About this is a saying a lot of people have, and it is what it is. Do you feel like that's a good phrase?
Yes, but it depends on what way you're looking at it, I suppose. I think it is. One of my themes that I've been saying lately a lot of my clients is nothing changes if nothing changes, and if you just say everything is just the way it is and so that's fine, then nothing will change, right? Mm-hmm. But there is that level of acceptance that comes because life is hard. You're going to have things that come up all the time. And so if you are learn to accept it and roll with it more, then it's a bit easier. But yeah, it kind of depends on which way you're looking at that one, Donna.
I have to look at that one because, buying a house now is different than it used to be back in the olden days. I remember the very first house I bought, and this was back in 1985. I was a young person. I was about 25 years old. And I just basically decided I wanted the house and got a loan, and it was done in less than a week. Well, now there's so many factors that are involved, in buying a house.
I was going to say a week, that's so fast.
I can't believe it. And I heard my granddad talk about buying this farm and 45 or 46 acres of land, and it was done. They just shook hands on the deal. Well, you don't do that now. You'd be afraid to.
Yeah.
Shake your hands on the deal. So there's so many other factors that are involved. We have a lot of laws in place. So sometimes when you make a big move like moving, you're thinking, why did I start this? There's so many hurdles to jump. How do you handle that?
Wow. That goes back to what I think about being organized, right? And you be organized, you have a plan and you kind of try to stick to it. And then you just are accepting of, how things are coming and be flexible, I would say. I was actually a realtor. I've already told you this before.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Years ago, I was a realtor. Besides my daughter, Chloe. Hi, Chloe.
Hey, Chloe.
School's out for my boys too today, so I have a full house. So I apologize ahead of time for any interruptions. But what was I saying?
We love kids here. We love kids here. Let them be kids.
Yeah. Speaking of rolling with it, there you go. What was I saying? Oh yes, I was a realtor before I really stepped into the space that I'm in with Yana and Becoming Her and my podcast. I really liked it, but you're right. It's a process and there's a lot of things to it. Sometimes, like you were saying with your experiences you've had, things can just pop up and then what do you do? And I was a really good, I brought a lot of calmness, I would say, to my clients. That was one of the things I was the best at, I think, is just really being able to be like, okay, this is going to be all right. Let's take this back a few notches and really, step forward. So I forget if that was what you were asking me, but yeah.
No, you're spot on. It's like, and then I've also heard bloom where you're planted. How true is that in your mind?
I think that's absolutely true. Sometimes we don't have a lot of choices where we're at, and no matter where you are or where we're at, I think it is important to really grow and bloom and be the best version of you. That one I do like. It's kind of silly, but I like it.
Let's talk a little bit more about health and how holding on to grudges and how holding in and not forgiving people and not just moving on can affect. I know someone very dear to me, overweight. And of course, we've had Christmas. That doesn't help, get all that food and all that.
Help any of us?
It didn't help anybody. But let's talk about this because she's having some health issues, big time health issues. She's a lot younger than I am, and I don't think she does a lot of exercise. But she holds on to the past and she holds on to grudges and that kind of thing. What can she do to be healthier?
I mean, holding on to all of that stuff's not good for any of us, And so really, if she's willing to really start letting go of it and find how to forgive, that's one of the easiest ways towards, letting go of bitterness and resentment is forgiveness, but it's often the hardest. It's not easy. From my own experience, I always like to talk on myself. I had some things that happened to me in my life that I really didn't know how to forgive and how to let go of. And I really struggled with that. It was something that would come up in triggers or, there'd be unexplained situations that would happen. And I would just get like, that feeling like this is really bothering me and I can't really explain why. But once I started to uncover those things and really realize that forgiveness is for me, not for the other person, it's basically saying like, okay, this is the situation that happened. And God, like, I'm giving it to you. Because I don't know how to handle this. And my heart wants to be at peace with this, right? And so for me, it was like, I didn't know how to forgive, but surrendering it over to God and be like, okay, you take this, show me the way. And then it was a beautiful process of, like little things here and there that would come up and just starting to heal me. And then some massive ones too, but really he knows the best way. And, that verse that talks about, he'll take the things that are bent for evil for us and turn them for good. It's so true, but it all goes back to our heart posture, I believe, and really, are we wanting to have that peace and, changing the mindset? Because a lot of times too, I think a lot of people, and I've worked with a lot of clients that, say this too, it's, you feel like if you forgive someone, you're letting them off the hook, right? Like you're just letting them get away with it. And oftentimes, holding on to that's just making you sick and sicker and sicker. And it manifests in, health issues. There's a lot of gastrointestinal issues that people have, it can cause you to really like have a lot of issues with anxiety as well. I had that. I literally felt like I was going to die from the anxiety that I had. So yeah, it affects every area, really a lot more than you think it would. The things around you affect you a lot more, and even in your environment, like you look at you get to move and, think about how much excitement and love and just really how much that makes you look forward to your future right now, So.
Well, we get to be closer to my son and daughter in love, which is absolutely awesome thing. But I found when I was living here, it's a bad situation, family situation, but the only piece I got was this show when I was doing recordings. And then when I would go to my garden and I found I was just staying and I even put the shows into the garden. I mean, that's how desperate it got, but gardening, it was like I got to see something from a seed grow into something and then grow into food and grow into flowers. I love sunflowers and lavender and all those things. So I got to watch all of those things happen. And I would just to give me peace of mind, I would just walk out and just rub my hands like this over the lavender and just smell that lavender. And it kind of gave me a calm and it kind of gave me a peace. But I feel so excited about what's happening ahead because we're going to be in a different area. It's almost like I'm not running away from anything. It's just, it's a start over phase for Phil and me. And I'm really excited.
It definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is for you. Well, and the lavender is like, hold on, my daughter unplugged my computer. The lavender itself has natural, it's used for calmness and stuff. But I love flowers. Like I am like you so much for another reason. I love flowers. It just brings you so much comfort and peace. But what you're saying is you have hope again, right? You have hope again. You have excitement again. You get to bloom where you're planted, and sometimes we just need to uproot our roots and put them somewhere else in some new fresh soil. So that kind of ties back into what you were saying before, which you did. You could have stayed stuck in a situation where you weren't feeling, like hopeful and all these amazing things you're feeling now. And you did something about it. You changed your situation. You changed your narrative. And now you're blooming again. I see that on you, even since we talked last.
Well, let me ask you something else, because sometimes you don't know when. So we stayed in this situation we're in for 12 years. And now that I look back, I'm thinking, I wasted life. I mean, I wasted it. And our marriage is a strong one. And sometimes you have to go through things, and you understand all of that. But I just feel like I wasted our marriage so many years by doing this.
Sorry, Donna. Well, can you repeat that last part? She kind of, here you go, Chloe. Here you go. Right.
Well, sometimes I just feel like maybe I wasted part of our marriage.
Oh.
And I feel responsible for that.
Yeah. I mean, I can empathize with that. I think that I've been through, seasons of my life where I look back and it was just really tough. It was really hard things. And I get really hard on myself. I think we tend to do that, especially you have such a big heart and you're so caring. You feel everything around you. I think it's just, you tend to be harder on yourself, just that your personality type. And so I think when you look at it in that way, you're depriving yourself of the fruit that you have now. I don't think you would appreciate where you're at now and what you're experiencing in this next chapter if you didn't go through that hard stuff. I truly believe that our hardest moments and our hardest seasons that we go through give us the best ones. And without them, we wouldn't appreciate where we're going. We wouldn't have even that like learning moment to look back and be like, okay, I suffered. This is what true suffering is, and now I can experience the fullness of joy. I was even thinking about this actually. I was driving last week and I was going through something really hard and in my personal world. And I was like, God, why? Like, why after I've been through so much suffering?
Why?
Yeah. Why is this happening to me now? Like, why now? Like when everything is going so amazing. And I really believe that I'm in the season where, the goodness of God and, what I've, they say you go through the wilderness, right? I feel like I went through the wilderness and I've come out and I'm like, so why is this popping up? And God spoke to me and told me, it's because you would not learn this lesson in the goodness of what I have coming for you if you didn't experience this. Without suffering, you would not have, this, you wouldn't grow as much, but also you wouldn't have this appreciation. And it, for some reason, it clicked to me. I've known this, but it clicked to me in such a deeper level. And if I wasn't in that vulnerable state at that moment and really feeling all of my feelings, my emotion, I wouldn't have learned that. So I think that that's really the key is to try to change your mindset from this is happening to me and for a bad reason, and realize that in those hard, bad things that happen, God gives us the most beauty. If that makes sense. That's what I've learned.
Sometimes you think nobody's paying attention. Nobody knows I'm going through things. Nobody knows. It's just me. I'm in this all by myself. You feel that way. You start feeling sorry for yourself. So our pastor, Philip Gillen, who's with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, He really cares about his congregation. So I was actually recording a show with Philip, and we were on commercial break. And Philip said, "You realize your husband comes before anything else. God first, but your spouse comes next, and that's a really close next." And I'm looking at him like, "Why are you saying that?" I mean, I'm just kind of looking at him like that. And he said, "It's time to release and let go. It's time for you two to go ahead and start over."
Yeah, it's so
and I'm
important.
thinking like, where'd that come from? I said, but bang, I needed to hear that. Thank you.
It isn't it. I believe that those are the moments that God speaks to us and we don't realize that he is, like he uses other people, I think, in those moments. And it's just a beautiful process sometimes if you're paying attention, those things that stick with you. So this is Chloe. Can you say hi?
Hi. She's going to have her own podcast.
She's going to have her own podcast one of these days. She sees mom do it so much. So
she won't see that camera, which is a good thing.
Yeah, usually she's been pretty good. Today her brothers are in her space, so she doesn't like it. So she's more she wants to be closer to mom. So
So I wanted to ask you another question, and this is, I'm going kind of back to people that their health is really bad. And again, I'm saying this because I went through it. Asthma is just a lifetime thing. Nothing really you can do about it. But be good to yourself. Ginger root, by the way, is wonderful for asthma. If you have
is it? I never heard that before.
Ginger root is great. I actually raised my own, but you can buy it from the grocery store, and you can grate it and you can dry it out, put it through a processor like your coffee grinder, something like that. Put it in jars and make tea out of it. I mean, it is absolutely, the properties in ginger root is absolutely amazing. But another thing I wanted to mention, and just ask your assistance on this, and it's where people say, "Well, I'll forgive, but I'm not going to forget." Now I understand that there are things that will play in your mind and sometimes will trigger something bad. I mean, I totally get that. But why do you say the person goes, "Well, I'm not going to forget"? Do you think they've really forgiven anybody when they say it that way?
Yeah, I feel like if they say it that way, I mean, it really depends on your attitude too. Because obviously there's things that I've gone through. This is my own experience and what I've learned. I will remember the bad stuff that happened to me to protect myself so it doesn't happen again necessarily. But it's about heart posture again, which I believe everything goes back to. If you're saying, I'll forgive you, but I'm not going to forget, I feel like that's like not forgiving. Like you're still not, you know what I mean?
I feel that way too.
It's not like your heart's not there. Like you're not really forgiving. It's just like you're saying you are to be like, oh, okay, but you're not really, So that's what I was
limpid about it.
Yeah. But here comes another child.
Okay, let's introduce your kids.
You want to say hi? Come here. No, he's too shy. He's like, so yeah, she doesn't want to, but Chloe's here. Gray and Mason are a little bit shyer, so they don't like to be on camera too much.
So let's talk about the healing process. And I know again, it depends on a person's particular body, but what about your food, the kind of food you eat, and exercise? How crucial is that to the healing process?
So crucial. So crucial. Literally, I'm just walking my women right now through my group through, better eating, which have you ever heard of the Yuka app? This is a really great tool that I've used. So YUKA. It's an app that you can download on your phone, and then it has you can scan barcodes, and it literally you can go to the grocery store and then any cosmetics or any food. It's a free app. You scan the barcode and it'll give you a number rating from 1 to 100, and it'll tell you what's good for you, what has good things in it, and it'll give that rating. It's awesome. It's a really great tool for people, especially like me. If I have a kid on my hip and I'm running through the store and I don't have time to sit there and read through all the ingredients, you can just scan it. And so that it's a tool that you can use. So just a tip. But also exercise, moving your body. Even if you can't, go to a gym and work out for so long, get outside, and even for your mindset to walk for 10 minutes a day, or, whatever you like to do. Maybe you like to dance, or, I don't know, even going into the store and walking around the store if it's freezing 20 some below, like it is for me right now, but getting out, moving your body, and actually getting your mind going, it brings up so much for you, so much healing, that just the chemical exchange that it does in your brain is life changing. Here, can you go back down by Chloe? Or by Grayson? No? You want to come back up here? Okay. But yeah, that's crucial. I think too, like, you're okay. Yeah, okay. I think sometimes whenever I am stressed about something or I'm feeling like I'm a little bit down, I'll go work out. My boyfriend actually just got me a gym membership, which I love because we like to go work out together, instead of going and doing other things. Sometimes we just like to go to the gym and just stay healthy. But if I'm having like a day where I'm feeling like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. If I go to the gym, my mood, everything changes. The way that I even think and the way that I'm approaching a situation. Sometimes, for example, I'm writing a book right now, and if I feel like I can't get the chapter out or if I'm stuck on that, sometimes just doing physical activity, going and walking over on my treadmill that I have in my house, or getting outside, which now it's winter. And like I said, it's so cold. I have this beautiful trail by my house and it has a river that runs along it. And it's just so beautiful. Those are some of the times that I feel the most at peace and close to God too. Really changing our environment, changing our mindset. And then what we feed ourselves, and not even just like nutritionally, obviously the food that we eat is so important and that we're getting that balance. But, I always say guard your gates. What are you looking at? What are you listening to? What are you doing? Guarding your gates, like, because what you watch, if we're constantly like watching negative things on TV or just aimlessly scrolling. And I do this sometimes too, sometimes I get on my phone and I'm just scrolling through things and social media and stuff, but really it has a huge effect on us. It has more than you realize it does, so I always try to implement that even in my coaching program, like guard your gates, make sure that you're doing these small things, and you can do it around how you want. Not everybody, like I said, wants to go to a gym. Not everybody wants to dance, or whatever. You have your own uniqueness, but yeah, our bodies were designed to function in a certain way. And when they're not and things aren't being used, it throws you off balance. So
I agree with that. Because I like to exercise. And I remember after I had my hysterectomy, I'm like, I can't do those exercises right now. My body's got to get to healing before I can do that. And my husband laughed at me. So it's like, what can I do? So I was sitting in a chair and I faced the wall and I started doing these push-ups while I was sitting in the chair. That was an exercise. It got my body moving. Then I graduated from getting out of the chair to actually standing up on the wall and doing the push-ups. And that helped. So there are things that you can do. You don't have to have gym equipment. You don't have to have all those.
No. Did you ever see there's this new thing? Maybe it's not new. I feel like it's new, but it's called like wall Pilates. Have you seen that? They have a lot of these apps out there, but I want to try it kind of because literally you just need a wall and you work out. And
so that's kind of what I was doing then, because it was kind of like a wall Pilates. I get it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Donna. 1 second.
Okay. Hey, let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes, I promise.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Because of your overwhelming support, our 1488 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing. Including my classic standard MyPillow is only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Age Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you again so much for watching, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time. Eastern Time, you got there at 2 o'clock. You can find us on the radio. You can also find us on television, Channel 182 Charter, and Abundance Television Syndicated, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Been meaning to talk with Kylie about this, and the Newscaster Studio, they're looking for some more podcasters, so I'm going to give you the information to these folks, and you're going to love it. And these folks are just great, great people. As a matter of fact, Mr. Day of Days Inn is one of the owners of the podcast, and so that's pretty awesome. So anyway, they can put things together that everything's done in a timely fashion. I'll put it to you that way. So we've been talking about relationships and holding on to grudges and all those things. I wanted to ask you another question. Okay, can you the environment of a room? So I'm talking about color, no sun. I've got to have sunshine. I'm sorry. I'm one of those. And so in the daytime, I do not want curtains closed, and I want it all open, where I can feel the sunshine. But can an environment, can that affect your mood as well?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a firm believer for sure. Well, sunshine, I feel like is so important to have, but I also, I love being comfy. I'm the girl that loves having candles and dim lights, and it just makes me feel so much more calm. But yeah, absolutely. The sunlight too, it's so vital. So think about it. If you're sitting in a room that's dark all the time, you're not getting any of that nutrition from the sun or any of that, those UV rays that are really going to make you feel a lot better. And I feel like, if I was not to get outside or not have something that's going to lift me up, lift my spirits, I would definitely fall back into that, more depressive attitude, and it's that's why they suggest too, when you go to therapy and things, to get outside, to be in the sun, to get that, that exposure, so to speak, to the light. So.
Well, I mean, I'm an herbalist, and I start plants always from seeds. I never buy anything, and so these are seeds I've had for years. And so, if you're planting seeds for right now, so I've been propagating lavender. I have a lavender farm, and
you have a lavender farm. That's so cool. I've been wanting to go to one. I've been wanting.
Oh my God! When you come to South Carolina, you'll need to come by and stop by.
Yeah.
And so, but I've been propagating and I've been planting seeds, getting ready for the summer, for the spring garden, that kind of thing. Okay. And if you don't have at least grow lights, they're not going to rise. Okay. They're not going to come up. You can't just plant a seed and put it in a dark room. You have to plant a seed. You got to have warmth from the heating pad. Then you have to have the glow lights, which are going to bring that. They've got to have light. Without light, they'll come up and be all, they call them leggy. They'll not have substance. They'll come up. They're not going to be able to hold the flower because they're going to be so weak in the stems and the legs of it. So I figure if a plant.
Think of that analogy. Yeah. Think of that analogy for human beings. It's the same thing, honestly. You're going to be more at a depressive state. You're going to be more laggy, more, even your skin changes, your appearance, get the sags under your eyes and the black rings, and you need sunlight. You need the light to keep you, well balanced in that nutrition in you. So.
And I feel this is really true. I'm not the most religious person you'll ever meet, but I feel like you got to have the light of God. I mean, if you don't have that, there's no hope. A lot of folks are going through, we've had a pretty rough time with, finances as far as a whole for the United States here lately. And the price of goods, as a matter of fact, I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook page. I was in a local grocery store. Eggs, 2.5 dozen were over $17. And I had to take a picture and I sent it to my husband. And I'm like, can you believe that? 2.5 dozen eggs, over $17. So a lot of people are going through that, and they're not making necessary changes. So it's causing some issues in finances, which cause depression. So a lot of folks are depressed right now.
I'm laughing at you.
Over that.
The egg analogy, that literally just happened to me. I think it was last week or the week before. I was like, are these eggs seriously this much money? So it's funny you say that.
So I'm finding another way for protein until that goes down. We're going to have chickens when we get
Well, I got good tips for you. So hit me up. But yeah, protein is so important. I've really been on a high protein diet myself. But yeah, the eggs, I can't believe how much money they were for. I don't buy 2 dozen, but a dozen, it was like $8, $8.76 here, I believe it was, or something. I was like, what? You're crazy.
Eat lots of peanut butter. That'll help too.
Yeah, I don't really love peanut butter though, but yes, that's a good alternative.
Well, actually, I heard that my grandmother and my mother both craved peanut butter when they were carrying me. So I love peanut butter.
Maybe
It's just
that's
one
why.
of the necessary things that I've got to have. So we're talking about how to keep our senses and how to keep from depression and how to forgive people and do the best that we can. If it's an abusive relationship, and let me ask a question, because this is a question that was posted from Renee. And so she asked, and she wanted me to ask this to you.
Mm-hmm.
When do you know when it's long enough to stay in an abusive relationship?
That's a tough one. When do you know when it's long enough to stay?
She didn't give me any specifics, so I really don't know like how long she's been in an abusive relationship. I really know nothing of that, but I can tell you from being in an abusive family relationship, your body will tell you when.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like what she's asking is how do you know when to leave or how long you should stay in it and stick it out, if I'm understanding correctly.
That's the way I understood it.
Yeah. That's a good question, and I think it's really unique to everyone. First of all, foremost, I want to say abuse is never okay, and that you should never stay in a situation like that, especially if it's like physically and emotionally abusive towards you. How do you know? I didn't have the tools, and I didn't have really like the support around me to get myself out of a situation, for example, that I went through with, my ex. And I put up with a lot more than I ever should have. I should have never really been there, even a percentage of what I was. But I think that, it's really very important to have relationships that are built with mutual respect. And, if somebody's not treating you the way that you deserve to be treated, then it's never okay to really stay in that situation. And, sometimes you can be in a situation in a relationship where somebody might be hurtful to you and not know that they are. But if they are they willing and able to adjust their behavior and apologize for that and change? Is that person capable of being a healthy person, a loving person to you? Sometimes a lot of my clients and people stay in situations because they love that person, even though they aren't treating them with love, and that's a really hard thing. That's a really hard situation I know personally going through, and I think it really has to be unique around the person. But if you're getting physically hit, and, emotional trauma is really bad too, do not stay in that situation. If, it's a tough thing. It's like, if you leave a situation like that and that person gets help and seeks help and, you want to come back to exploring if that could be a situation that would be safe for you again, that's, unique to everyone in a different situation. But I truly don't think if somebody is harming you in that way that they're just going to change, and again, it's unique to every situation. So it's a difficult question to ask, but abuse is never okay in any form. So.
All right. Now, how long have you been doing what you're doing right now? And let's talk a little bit about your website and all the different projects you have going on right now.
Yeah. So really stepped into my calling independently about a year and a half ago now. This past 6 months has kind of flown. So, before this, I used to lead an academy, and, before that, I actually started probably about 10 years ago. I went to school for counseling, specializing in addiction, really started to learn so much about psychology and human behaviors and traumas and things. And then, I got done with the counseling program and I realized, okay, this isn't really where I want to go right now. I also needed to honestly, transparently, get a better income for my kids in my situation. And so I really stepped into real estate, and God was like, nope, I'm not done with you yet. Before I knew it, this opportunity to join this leadership academy was dropped in my lap. And I was also in a New Age coaching program at the time, which I didn't really understand even what New Age was and things. But, I was really on this journey of finding myself and dove into that. And, I truly believe that everything in your life happens for a reason. And when you're open to it, God's going to show you what that is. And I was at a place where I was really open to seeing what he wanted for my life. Honestly, transparently, I just had my daughter. the relationship that I had with her dad was, came to a devastating end. And I found myself in that place, like, oh, I tried again and this didn't work. And I'm so broken. And God, what do you want? Like, I'm doing my best. I'm giving my best. What do you want from me? And he took that brokenness and he started to use me and heal me and really deep dived into healing trauma and wounds. And also at the same time was teaching me how to help others. My whole life, I feel like I've been set apart. And so really the lifetime of just experiences and learning and growing. And he started to use me and little by little put me in the academy where I was teaching other students. And then, really I went through another academy where I learned about healing and took some courses online even. And really just started little by little. Now I look back on it and I can't believe the things that have happened in the last 5 years even, but really started to put me around people that, needed my experience. I've learned slowly, but kind of quickly that sharing my story was really important to do. And it was also not easy for me to do. I still get a little still a little, when you ask me that question about abuse, right? Because I was in an abusive situation, I still find myself like, I don't want to ever speak out of it with emotion, right? Or from my just emotion. I want to come from a healed, happy, whole place where I can really give the best advice. And so, God just continues to work through me in this way. And, like I said, about 1.5 years ago, I really very clearly, but also so lovingly heard him say, okay, it's time to let go of the real estate. It's time to let go of the property management. This is what I've called you to do. And that's where I started launching Yana. And then Yana turned into the beautiful women's program that I have for Becoming Her, it's called. So now I lead women to find their identity, freedom, and purpose. And I also have healing sessions where now I get to use my education and my training. And I really walk people through the healing process and, starting sometimes back to not sometimes, majority of the time, back when you're a kid and when you start carrying things with you and walk them through their whole life, really, and things that they've maybe held on to limiting beliefs and they don't even know. And, also I have a 12-week coaching program. I have one-on-one coaching sessions that I'm doing. I just recently, God brought Jason Webb into my life, his name is, and him and Doug Greathouse, they run the Profitable Christian Business. And really, these guys have become like my brothers. We've become partners. And so now they're really helping me with the tech side of things, which is we're currently in the process of building my website up. So stay tuned for that. But also really just getting me in front of the right people that need to hear my voice. And God, in the same time, has been working on me to use mine. And so I've been on tons of podcasts, and I appreciate you having me on your show. And, we've built a friendship now. And so just really speaking about, some of these issues and trauma and things that we go through, because for so long, and this is why I started Yana, I felt so alone. And I don't ever want anyone else to feel like they're alone and they don't have, that help. And, I'm able to use even the experience that I had with anxiety, I know what it feels like to literally want to take your own life. I tried 2 times to take my own life because I could not get away from anxiety, like that feeling. It was soul crushing. It was so hard, and now God's walked me through and brought me to the other side of that. So I'm able to help others walk through that. And, you said something really powerful earlier that I think we all need the light, we all need the light of God. And it's so true. It saved me. God met me at my darkest, lowest point. And now, since I surrendered and gave my life to him, has walked me through this beautiful process. And nothing's taken for granted. He's taken the hardships and the bad things in my life and is turning them to good. And, even through my podcast that's coming up, we've actually went through a little bit of rebranding. I still called it The Line on here, I see, but we're calling it The Lifeline. And so my podcast is literally people coming in and giving their testimonies and using their voice. Okay. And how ironic is that, coming from the girl that didn't know how to use their voice and was too afraid to really share my experiences, to now I've been given this platform with these amazing people, and they can use their voice, and I'm helping them too. It's mind blowing actually a little bit to think about, but yeah, that's the season. I hope that answers your question, but that's the season I'm in, is doing all these things. We have, my book is coming out. My date to set it to launch, I'm hoping, is June. I'm a little caught up on some of the chapters right now because there's a couple that are really hard to write. It's not easy, but I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be as truthful as I can. And sometimes the things that we don't want to share or that we might have the hardest time doing so are the things that are going to help people the most. And so, yeah, that's what I've got going on. And I'm just taking it day by day. Obviously, first and foremost, I'm a mother. And I have an amazing boyfriend. And I'm really stepping into a season like you did, Donna, where I feel like just really hopeful and really excited and also just really present, present in today. So.
Well, let me ask you another question. This is because I've been in deep despair too, and you think, well, there's no way out. I'm stuck with this life. I'm stuck with it. I'm no help to anybody. I'm not even a help to myself. So how do you get yourself motivated to go on? Just sometimes it's just one step. If you can just take that one step and get your foot out there, you'll be amazed at some of the things that can happen. How do you start with a single step?
I adopted this mentality, and I think it was, what is that guy's name? I can't think of him. He was a Navy SEAL, and he adopted this mentality. Just do it anyways. Just do it anyways. Those days that you feel like, because I have them too, where I don't want to get out of bed, or I don't want to, do my dishes, or I don't want to go work out, or whatever it might be. You just want to do nothing or just relax. And, those times in my life, especially when I'm feeling like, sad or just unmotivated, I do it anyways. I take one small step. It's like, what is the one thing that I have to really get done today? Priorities, right? Like, what is the one thing that I need to get done that's going to not help me tomorrow? That's going to affect and set off my whole schedule. And another thing for me is really the moving my body. If I don't move my body at least 10 minutes a day, then I can tell, and then probably the most important thing that I've adopted through any and everything that I've learned is I start my day praying. And if I don't take that time, sometimes for some other people it might look like meditation or, whatever that is. For me, it's praying and inviting Holy Spirit into my day and being like, okay, God, like, what do you want me to do today? And where are you taking me? And I noticed that a lot of those, I have to, changes to I get to. And that's another thing I adopted too, is instead of, our words are so important, right? Like the way that we speak, life and death are in the power of the tongue. If you change, this is a simple thing for all you listeners out there. You literally change I have to I get to. It psychologically changes it and shifts your world. You will literally change everything around you to like gratitude, really. And I get to do this, and yeah, those are the things for me, I would say, help keep me on track. And I'm not always perfect at this. This is one thing I want everyone to hear too is, we get these ideas, and I think especially with the way that the world is right now on social media, that other people have it together. And oh my gosh, if I could only look like Susie down the road and have this perfect life and look like her, and she's got it all together. Kids are perfect. Her family looks perfect. All these things. That's just simply not true. It's not real. Nobody has it all figured out. I still remember the day I was standing in my kitchen. I like to listen to a lot of audiobooks, right? I'm listening to this audiobook, and this gentleman's talking about just that exact thing. And I felt the most freedom in my life. So I always try to share that everywhere I go as much as I can. Like, nobody has it all figured out. So.
No. And so I got to ask you, because everything I do is a rhythm. Okay. I love to dance. I'm not the best dancer in the world, but I dance. When I wash dishes, it's a rhythm. When I cook, it's a rhythm. And so I have to go through, because if I'm taking off the rhythm, it just kind of like, whoa, got to start all over again. So what do you say to the person who is like me and you plan on something going a particular way, particular day? Life happens. I'm sorry. It's just going to happen. Something's going to be a stumbling block into you getting whatever you have planned for the day. Something's going to stop you. You're going to have to, can't do step A. It's got to be step B. What do you say to that person? How do you get back on the rhythm again? And you're talking to me here.
Yeah. Take a deep breath. Really take a deep breath. And really, I just try to ground myself again. Like there's different activities you can do. There's the, touch, see, smell, taste things around you if you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed. For example, sometimes I can have something planned and I'm all about, getting it done. And then my boys will start arguing. And then when they're arguing and then you can't get in between them and then they're fighting, you know what I mean? Like that can happen. And then next thing I know, I'm like getting all upset. And so I've learned to just really like pause. Like I think there's like some saying going around too. That's like the power of the pause. I just pause and I really just get myself in a place where I just, am separating myself from whatever the situation that's upsetting me is. Just pause and really take a moment to just be with myself and be present with myself. And then be like, okay, this didn't happen. A lot of the times, how I just said, like, I get to. I learned this from a motivational speaker, actually. He was like, whenever something bad happens, he's like, do this. Yes. Like, yes. And just in that moment, like shifting it from a negative to a positive, it's seriously game changing. And so, that's where I pause. I just, realign myself, change my attitude, and then I'm able to just really go at it with okay, that didn't work out. Now what's the next way? What's the next best way? And I love that you do it with rhythm because that's just beautiful. And
well, I've got, sometimes you can get motivated by some of the strangest consequences in your life. Mm-hmm. So there is a restaurant, I think they've closed down a bunch of stores that isn't just a wonderful restaurant called the Macaroni Grill. And it was about, Phil and I would go there for celebrations, and this is pretty pricey, but anyway, we'd go there for celebrations and that kind of thing. And so we were there at the first time, and man, I heard a bunch of dishes breaking. I mean, it's just like, what happened? Somebody just broke a bunch of dishes. Well, the first thing you think of breaking dishes is a bad thing. It's a terrible, terrible thing. Mm-hmm. This is what happens at the Macaroni Grill when someone breaks a dish. Now, sometimes think they do it on purpose so they can do this. All of the employees get together and they start clapping.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
I learned something from that. I mean, it was like the first time we went and heard it. And so I'm thinking, what are they doing that for? That's a terrible thing. You've just broken some dishes that belongs to the owner of the restaurant.
Yeah.
And then they're clapping. So we go back again. 2 times, someone broke a dish. And they all got together and started going, hey! I learned something from that. It was like, so you broke a dish. Going ahead and clap for it.
Yeah.
So that's what I do sometimes. When I think of it, somebody cuts me off in traffic. That's one of my biggest things. I'm on a rhythm and going down the road. I'm on time for my appointment. I'm actually going to be a few minutes early getting there. I can fix my makeup maybe. And so I'm driving down the road. Somebody cuts me off. I almost hit them. Yeah. I've learned to just go. Of course, you can't clap while you're driving, but I've learned to go while I'm holding up.
Oh, I love it. It's like the thing that the Chris taught me. It's like really just be like, yes, like this happened. Let me tell you a quick story too. So, probably 4 years ago or so, I was really in overwhelm. I was like, I was working all night. I had the kids. I was literally, I don't even know how I was surviving off of such little sleep, honestly, because, I would go to sleep with writing contracts on my lap and I'd wake up, I'd fall asleep probably around 3 o'clock. I'd wake up at 5, 6 in the morning, get my boys ready for school. And that was my life for a long time, just doing it. And I was so overwhelmed and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy and I have all these things I have to do. And then when things wouldn't work out, it wouldn't go my way. Then I would get so uptight and upset about it. Whoa, no, everything's going, and then it was like an effect. It would just be like everything kind of went downhill from there. And then I was worthless to everything I needed to get done. And so whenever I realized really that if I was taking care of myself and I was actually pouring into my cup, actually sleeping was a huge thing too, but sleeping, pouring into my cup, taking that time for myself, really putting exercise into my diet, starting to eat better. And also, this is another thing that was really helpful to me and maybe with you, but really putting something into my brain that was positive. I started to listen. That's where I started to really listen to these audiobooks, listening to people that I really wanted to be like or adopt their mentalities and just listening to that as I was doing things, 15 minutes a day even. And so once I started doing that and then, changing my attitude that this isn't happening to me, it's happening for me, then I didn't have all those moments. It's weird. I would have these stressful things happen. Like, for example, you driving down the road, whereas maybe getting upset in that moment, you just kind of have this attitude where you're like, okay, like this is okay. Like it just shifts everything. So I don't even recognize that girl that I used to be anymore. That girl that was so stressed out, and I say this to people, like busy isn't real. It's not real. It's how we are, structuring our lives and what we're actually putting into our days. And people are like, you're crazy. Like, what do you mean this is not a real thing? And they'll argue with me about it. And then I'll explain, I'm like, okay. And so it's just beautiful watching some of my clients come back even and be like, okay, like we get it now. So.
And sometimes just this tiny little switch. Maybe you need to zig just a little bit instead of zagging. I mean, it's just this tiny little switch. So there's a motivational speaker that I used to love listening to. He passed away a few years ago, but I would travel to go listen to this guy. He was really good. He was an older guy. He was very successful, started out very poor, and turned his life around. He got into some things. His name was Zig Ziglar. You've probably heard of this guy. Okay, yep. So this is what he said one time. I was working for DTE, and a bunch of us went. It was required, so we went to go listen to this guy speak. Mm-hmm. And so he was at the very end of it. It was like an hour-long segment, and lots of great nuggets. I mean, great things I still use to this day. And this was like in 1980s when we went to here. So this is what he said. He said, "Okay, I'm going to tell you the most important thing. If you get nothing out of what I've said today, I want you to listen to this. This is very crucial." Well, we're sitting here thinking he's probably going to tell us God first, family second. It's going to be one of those things he's going to say. So I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And he goes, "Only floss the teeth you want to keep." And I'm like, and it makes a lot of sense. Think about this, because some people only floss the outside appearance of the body. They only exercise, they don't eat right. Or they eat right, they never exercise. Mm-hmm. And that's really important. Only floss the teeth you want to keep.
I love that. I'm really going to steal that from you.
Actually, I stole it from him. Zig Ziglar.
That's wise words. That's a really good analogy. That's a good one.
I mean, think about this. You only floss the front teeth that people can see, but you don't floss the back ones. Mm-hmm. You can't have that big open smile because you have some teeth.
Right. You're going to lose all of them. Yeah.
But you'll have the pretty ones up front because you floss them. Yeah. So, okay. Less than 3 minutes left in this segment. What would you like to say before we go?
I just appreciate having you here in this whole conversation. I think that some of these topics that we talk about are just so necessary. That's why I'm really appreciative even of what I'm doing, and just being able to come on your show and different platforms that I'm on is, so many times we think that we're just stuck, and, sometimes we don't even know how to forgive. And so I'm here, if you're going through something, I would love to help you out. Like I said, we're in the process of making my website and things like that, but you can find me on Facebook. I would love to just walk you through the process. My Becoming Her group is growing too. And it's super exciting, all the things that we have coming up this year. And I'm appreciative. And I'm appreciative for our friendship, Donna. I can't believe how much things we have in common. And I'm excited about your move. And, God's so good. And when we're open to it, I just believe that he really just makes things all the more fruitful. So
I do too. And when you follow his will, it just happens. Now you're going to have a setback. I had one. We thought we were going to move this week, but now I'm really glad we're not moving this week. It is cold outside.
Yeah. Look at that. And next week it's supposed to be beautiful for you.
So that's going to be awesome.
Just imagine if you would have stayed stuck in that, like, this just is terrible. It's happening to me, instead of, now it actually is happening for you, and you won't be freezing when you're moving all your stuff.
Absolutely. And only floss the teeth you want to keep. That's important. Yes. It really is. Thank you so much for being with me. And thank you guys so much for watching. I know you got a lot. We have wonderful guests, and this is another good one right here, and a good friend of mine as well. Continue sending emails, by the way. Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com. Hang around just a minute. I've got to get you planned for next month. Okay. And we'll see you guys later. Have a super duper awesome blessed day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.